Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to take a few moments and just try to sum up some of our impressions and our thoughts about the last 2.5 days and reflect a little bit about the contributions that you've made and the contributions of the panelists and the various different experts that have come on to the Barcelona Resilience Week. I'm sitting here with people who probably don't need an introduction, but let me introduce them anyway. Manuel Valdez from the city of Barcelona, and Ignasi Fontanals, who's here representing the Barcelona Resilience Partnership. Before I go too far, I have to start with a bit of an apology. I was supposed to make an announcement at the end of the first session, reminding you that this afternoon there are a series of site visits. This is about the city of Barcelona putting their resilience words into action. And I encourage all of you who have the time and who have the inclination to take advantage of this opportunity. There are 4 different routes focusing on water cycle, energy, social resilience, and urban services. They start today at 4 o'clock. They'll depart right from here, and they will return here. I think you'll see some fairly interesting sites here. One is the largest desalination plant in Europe. The second is the rainwater detention tank. These are incredibly impressive structures, and the Eco Energy Center, amongst many other things. So please sign up for whichever the site visits you'd wish to go on, and I encourage you to go. Secondly, just a couple of numbers for you. This year, 330 registered participants for the conference, 250 actually here at any one time. Today was the largest, I understand. We have people coming from 53 cities around the world in 33 countries, and we have the representatives from 20 different cities. So this is quite impressive for what started out to be something quite small last year. Virtually everything is doubled. The number of events have tripled, as have the number of speakers. So that's my first reflection on the outcome of this. The second thing I want to say, well, you're all in this room, is to put out a special thank you to my team members, particularly Gemma Noguera, who is sitting. Gemma, stand up. Thank you, Gemma. She's done an absolute brilliant job. And I get message from her at very strange hours of the morning, constantly. Marta from Anteverdi, and the work that Anteverdi has done in pulling the logistics together for this conference. Marta, I don't know where Marta is. I think she's out trying to calculate more statistics for me, but yeah. Manuel and Aras Gabas from the city of Barcelona. Here's Aras there. Stand up, come on, show us who you are. And of course, Ignasi Fontanals, who is here representing the rest of the Barcelona Resilience Partnership members. And Ignasi has been in as many events as he could get to and representing the partnership I think in a very substantive way. So Ignasi, to you too, thank you very much. Okay, just some reflections from my point of view, and I'll pass it to Manuel and Ignasi and ask them the same thing. I already spoke about the numbers and the participation, but what I didn't talk about was the manner within which you were participating in these last 2.5 days. I'm thinking back to last year, and I'm thinking to the degree to which you've been engaged, not just as experts or speakers, but also as participants and querying the kind of principles that have been laid out by the various different presentations. And it's a very, very different, if I can use a colloquialism, it's a very different vibe this year amongst all of you, noticeable. Also the media. The media has been here throughout, and we've seen the reflection in the local news and the national news yesterday, and I hope we'll see more coming today. That's quite interesting. We set out to focus the conversations over these last 2.5 days in 3 kind of thematic areas. One was the challenges to cities, the challenges to organizations, the challenges to civil society groups in supporting local authorities' ambitions to make their cities more resilient. We talked a bit about resources, and we contextualized the resources in terms of the community of practice, this growing group of people you all represent that are working to support local authorities in their efforts to become more resilient. We've had conversations that are contextualized at global, at regional, at local level, and heard incredible input from those of you who are actually working at those different levels, and some of you are working at all of those levels. And then we had quite an interesting conversation this morning about the impacts of migration. And this is one of the specific areas our executive director is interested in and wants to see the outcome of our debate and discussion this morning reflected not just in the World Humanitarian Summit, but there is a Secretary General's Summit on Migration coming up in September this year, just before Habitat 3. And he sees this as a key issue to translate into this new urban agenda. So we will try to distill the conversation in a manner this morning in a manner that can be reflected. We have one more event that will take place after this, which is going to be a city roundtable. And the roundtable will discuss and debate a declaration, and which is really just a summary of the key points and the key elements, and what we discern to be the commitments of not just the cities, but many of the partners who are represented here today. And I think this is in answer to the executive director's invitation during his opening address to try and find a way to use this series of events as a means of influencing the outcomes in Quito in October. That city roundtable will take place at 2:30 this afternoon. And we'll be discussing the declaration, and we'll be very likely putting it up for your review on the partnership website very shortly after that. With that, those are my reflections. There's way too much interesting detail to go through event by event and extract conclusions from that, but the organizing group will put together a record of the meeting, and that will also be available at some point in the next weeks or so. I suppose after everybody recovers from this, we'll get back to work on it. With that, I'd like to pass the mic over to Manuel to share with us some of his reflections on the last couple of days.
So then practically all reflection you did, so and looking to the hour, I prefer to be very brief. Just 3 points. First one is that it was very difficult to organize because we had very low resources dedicated to that, and the results are really good. So I like to say thanks to the organizers anyway, another time. And to all of you, I hope that in all this effort, you can provide learning and teaching in this event, and you really are good in our city that is totally open to your presence here. Second one is that the political groups of the city hall, the government of the city, is totally involved in the resilience plan. As you can say, the mayor, the deputy mayor, twice. So all the government of the city is totally involved in our strategy, and I hope it will help our plans and help our collaboration with the rest of city, changing the experiences and changing the plan. I hope it will be very, very good and better than last year. I think the step between the last meeting and this one is very high, and I hope it's very important for our contents itself. And the third is to remember you that the only one way to develop the resilience for the citizens is to go everybody in the same pack. So we have to collaborate, because not another way to build resilience different to going alone is impossible to do it. So we need everybody, enterprises, cities, organizations. Everybody have to go together for take the best solutions of the problem of the citizens, because the citizens are the same, are the client of everybody. So we have to put in their point of view and look to the solution that we can offer. We have to offer the best solution from a global point of view. So I think the resilience, as the smart city concepts, as the sustainability, all these characteristics of the actual society, of the actual cities, we have to go in the same way and working together for have the best results as possible for the citizens. These are the three ideas I like to transmit you in this brief moment.
Okay, and directly from there to Ignacy Fontanals on behalf of the partnership.
Thank you very much, Dan. Just a few words. I think we totally agree at what you have been explaining. Here, as a representative of Barcelona Resilience Partnership, this group of companies, we are very glad to welcome you here this week. And also we are very glad to spread the word of resilience. You know, here, this word of resilience, even for companies and organizations, it has been an opportunity to collaborate, as Manuel Valdés says. And also this word that, you know, it came from resilio, that it means to leap, to rebound. So it's a word used in different aspects. We have been treating here the social, the infrastructure, the urban services, the city resilience as a whole. And it's a word that it can be very, very useful for cities. You know, it's very useful in all these domains. We have good examples with kids also. We have now crises of social crisis where kids are very affected, and one of the origins of the word resilience, it was for psychology and for kids to explain how the kids are able to bounce back and improve. And I have a good friend that lent me a book before talking about resilience and how if you have a bad childhood, when you were a kid you had a bad experience, this is not a problem, because resilience will help you to have a better life when you are an adult. So I think in Barcelona we had this experience. In Barcelona with the resilience, with this word, there were the excuse to sit down all in a table, public and private, and we were able to make this collaboration, this public and private collaboration, where I think we all have the responsibility we have a great responsibility to help the city. So thank you very much. Just the message, count on the private sector to help you in great collaboration with the public. So thank you very much, and we hope we could repeat this next year.
Great, thanks, Ignacy. Manuel mentioned it, but let me mention it again. The the richness of this last 2.5 days is not due to us, it's due to you and the kind of content that you've brought to the discussion, the openness, the incredible networking. I was listening at the dinner last night at City Hall to the noise level. And it was everybody was talking to everybody, and that alone was a very interesting indicator of the difference in the conversations that were taking place between last year and this year, and I was incredibly impressed. The next couple of days will be meetings between some of the partners and the city partners that they have. They'll be quite technical. Most of them are closed, but one of the key partners in this effort was the C40 group in helping make this happen and helping bring cities here to Barcelona for this. And I very much want to thank the C40 folks. I don't know where they're sitting here, but here we are. Oh, there you are. Okay. For the help and for the contributions to this. And I hope you take away from this as much as we're taking away from this. And all of you take away from this last couple of days new learning, new partnerships, new networks, and a commitment to come back next year, maybe, and make it a little bit bigger. Okay? We have a few minutes, and if you're terribly starving and you need to go, fine. But if not, I'd like to hear from some of you, your thoughts and your reflections on your participation in this year's Resilience Week. Anybody have anything that they'd like to say? You're hungry.
Of course. It's too late.
It's too late, okay. Well then, I hope you agree with some of the reflections and thoughts of the co-hosts of this event. I am encouraged, incredibly encouraged, and I look forward to seeing, many of you hopefully back next year, but certainly during the course of the year we'll have opportunities to come together, not least of which will be in Quito in October. So with that, I will close this out. Thank you, guys. Thank you again. And just remind the participants in the City Roundtable that we're meeting in Room B, is it? Yeah, we'll meet at Room B at 2:30, right? Okay. Thanks very much, everybody. Give yourselves a big hand.